Yo, it's your boy Chris Allen, right from the couch. That was another video, you know, true story, Kevin Hart, movie review, my first time. Y'all like, subscribe, y'all have a nice night. Kevin Hart. Now, for those of you that haven't watched this movie before I ever get into this, let me just say some spoilers ahead and some stuff that, you know, y'all probably ain't seen yet that I'm about to basically break down the whole movie. And y'all might just probably be ruined if you don't know what's going on. So to make a long story short, this is the movie called True Story on Netflix with Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes as two stars on the movie. It's a great movie. It's more of a drama, more different from what Kevin Hart's usually doing. And as you get into it, I mean, as soon as you cut it on, you still get the feel, the atmosphere that it's going to be a more like a drama type of movie. So, you know, of course, you know what I'm saying? You see Kevin Hart in his glory in the movie. Kevin Hart plays a comedian named Kid who is basically at the top of his game. Kind of similar to what he's at right now in real life. So it's easy to kind of dive into it. But this comedian, he's big. He's really, really big. Well, Kevin Hart's really, really big, but he's on the verge of becoming a billionaire. And on this movie, for all we know, Kevin Hart could be on the verge of becoming a millionaire. But aside from all that, he's in a movie playing a comedian named Kid. Wesley Snipes plays a strange brother that basically was an ex-football player, former football player that was at his peak a couple of years ago. Now, he's not, of course, not at his peak anymore. And you can see there's still some type of, you know, past animosity between them two because of that. You're going to see that as you continue to watch the movie. Now we'll continue. First episode, Kevin Hart. He's a real famous comedian. He's known worldwide. Everybody wants to see him. Everybody's happy to see him. Of course, just like all superstars, they have a circle around him. The circle around him consists of an agent who is basically, his name is Todd. He's a Jew. He's a white guy. He's cool. Got glasses. You're going to figure out all the different characters that's close to Kevin, how much they mean to him in the movie. There's a female comedian. She's also pretty clever, and, you know, she gives Kevin, well, Kid, because that's his name in the movie, his jokes. And then you have, of course, his security guard. Security guard is basically, you know, well-trained. He's real stern on making sure Kevin Hart is protected, just like any other security guard would be when your client is a millionaire on the verge of being a billionaire comedian. So, make a long story short, Kevin Hart goes out after a performance. When he performed in the beginning of the movie, he did real good. In the beginning of the movie, him and his brother, Wesley Snipes, they meet up together after the performance, they meet up backstage with a couple of his old friends. As he meet up with, you know, Wesley Snipes, as you might probably tell, Wesley Snipes has his own past that he goes through. The reason he's no longer a football player is because, you know, he was caught up on the street, which you're going to figure it out sooner or later in the show. He was caught in the street selling drugs. It's his storyline as far as Wesley Snipes. So Wesley Snipes and his friends, you know, they give Kevin a couple of drinks. He doesn't want to drink. Kevin literally tells them, "I'm on the binge. I'm basically not a binge. I'm on the, you know, basically you're 6 months sober." Or I'm thinking it's more than that. He was a couple of years sober than when he was the last time he had a drink. So that basically lets you know that he's not trying to do that. He's not comfortable with it. Wesley Snipes insisted, you know what, this is a good time. You had a great performance. We ain't seen each other. It's a lot of good women around here. All that accumulated to Kevin Hart doing what we all know he's going to do is just drink. He's going to drink a couple of shots. He drinks one shot. You know, he holds back a little bit. They convince him to do it another time. Then he keeps on going. Then as the mood changes, you can see the mood between him and this girl that he's talking to. It's becoming real close, sensual. So Kevin Hart, you know, ends up to, I ain't got the time to break down the whole movie, but to make a long story short, he gets into it with the girl. They end up having sex. The next morning, the girl's dead. Kevin Hart loses it. Don't know what the hell happened. She basically OD'd in his eyes. She had some Oxycontin in her blood. And, well, this whole situation all happened when Wesley Snipes wakes him up. Pay attention to how everything goes on in the movie. Wesley Snipes wake him up. Hey, the girl that you with is dead. She's dead. And then Kevin Hart loses it. He just figures it out. The girl's right there. He was trying to wake both of them up for whatever reasons. And, you know, she's dead. So next thing you notice, Kevin Hart goes crazy. He calls somebody that Wesley Snipes know. Wesley Snipes gets somebody that's Who else will be the person you call if you got a dead body? Obviously a gangster, you know, some low key dude that could just hide the body. But in this case, it was a Russian gangster. The Russian gangster comes through. His name is Ari, and he's a bigger gentleman. He's pretty much about like 6'8", 6'7" tall motherfucking dude. So he comes here, he hides the body, but in his whole time he's there, he's in a comedic like mood. Remind you, Kevin Hart just seen, and he just been experiencing a murder. Well, not a murder. He just experienced somebody just die in bed with him, not knowing at all she was dead. He's losing it. He's a famous comedian worth millions, if not billions of dollars pretty soon. And now he has a dead woman in his bed. He knows everything will go to shit if it comes to light that he has a woman that died in his bed. Dude tells him to calm down. He makes light of the situation. A couple of times he makes light of the situation. Kevin didn't like it. He finds out that the guy, carries the body, take the body out because Kevin basically loses it. He goes in the other room, go to sleep. He wakes up, the body's gone. So now the guy disposes of the body. He's calm and collected, tells Kevin what he must do in order to get away from it scot-free. Then he gets to the ending part, and this is the part where Kevin loses it. I'm not going to break down the whole movie. I'm just going to give you the premise of what happened in this movie. Basically, he tells Kevin, you need to come off of $6 million. Not exactly $6 million, but in payment form, he wants Kevin to come off $6 million by monthly payments. Of course, just like any other person that was rich, they won't be cool with that no matter how much money you got. You got to just give you $6 million. Some people will be open, but not Kevin Hart. He feels like this is it's not worth it. He calls a couple of his former crew people in his circle, his agent, his bodyguard. Well, he didn't call his bodyguard, but he called his agent. His agent is the one that's controlling all of it. He could tell him how it's going to look when he comes off of this amount of money. You got to put this on the books. Whoop-de-whoop. You can't just be giving money out to people like that without nobody knowing what it's for. He tells him what he's doing right now would definitely need to be checked and thoroughly examined before he just give the money away because it's $6 million. Kevin Hart thinks about it. He backtracks. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Then the next day come, Kevin Hart meets with the guy. The guy tells him, this is the money that you got to pay me by this time, this account, and I will be done. Kevin Hart doesn't trust him. He figures, how could I trust you? You could take anything away from me. It's not a guarantee that you could just increase the money, or you could just change your mind and say, you know what? I don't want to do this. Let's do that. He has all the power in his hands because he basically got rid of his kid, got rid of his body. So at this moment, Kevin Hart's thinking about it. He's thinking about, should he give him the money? But, his eyes, he feels like he has no option. The guy comes to the hotel. They talk about it. And let me just say this one thing before I finish the video off. Kevin Hart makes a decision that changes the trajectory of the whole show. Something that we never thought Kevin Hart would do in a situation like this. But to remind you, this is not exactly Kevin. It's the role he's playing. This guy went through a lot of stuff. So basically, to make a long story short, on a scale of 1 to 10 overall, I would give the movie 8.5. Did real good. It's really real nitty gritty. It's realistic. It gets straight to the point. To be checked and thoroughly examined before he just give the money away because it's $6 million. Kevin Hart thinks about it. He backtracks. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't do this. Then the next day come, Kevin Hart meets with the guy. The guy tells him, this is the money that you got to pay me by this time, this account, and I will be done. Kevin Hart doesn't trust him. He figures, how could I trust you? You could take anything away from me. It's not a guarantee that you could just increase the money, or you could just change your mind and say, you know what? I don't want to do this. Let's do that. He has all the power in his hands because he basically got rid of his kid, got rid of his body. So at this moment, Kevin Hart's thinking about it. He's thinking about, should he give him the money? But, his eyes, he feels like he has no option. The guy comes to the hotel. They talk about it. And let me just say this one thing before I finish the video off. Kevin Hart makes a decision that changes the trajectory of the whole show. Something that we never thought Kevin Hart would do in a situation like this. But to remind you, this is not exactly Kevin. It's the role he's playing. This guy went through a lot of stuff. So basically, to make a long story short, on a scale of 1 to 10 overall, I would give the movie 8.5. Right from the couch, that was another video. You know, true story, Kevin Hart. Movie review, our first time. Y'all like, subscribe. Y'all have a nice night.